we have all of the information and then make those decisions.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Any further discussion? No? All in favor? Carried. Okay. On to the Silverton Rink occupancy agreements. We have a recommendation that the mayor and CAO be authorized to sign the Silverton Rink occupancy agreement between the Village of Silverton and the Slocan Lake Arena Society dated for February 2nd, 2026. Could I get somebody to move that? Councillor Denbach, seconded by Councillor Broughton. Any discussion?
Sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead.
we'll go. Councillor Broughton first.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm being rude. I don't mean to. Did they get back to you since the general meeting? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So I have had a meeting with the Arena Society, a couple of representatives that are board.
Yep.
And we agreed that this is just a short-term agreement because we realize that there's nothing in place and there really should be.
Yeah.
I've reassured them that the intentions of council are not to stop the agreement after the short one. This is just a short-term, quick and easy placeholder that was intended to mimic the terms of all of the prior agreements with no changes and just rationalize what's actually going on, which I don't think is a surprise to anybody. It's not like we didn't know that they were in there. It's just we realized that the documentation is missing. So
I also reminded them that with the assessment of everything that's going to be going on, we kind of know a little bit that building isn't in perfect shape, let's say. So no use signing another long-term agreement if next year we have to say, sweet, this building is done. I pray we don't. I want to do whatever we can within reason to keep that
I
going.
don't think the plan is to shut down the building, is it not? No, that's not the plan at all. We need to figure out an agreement to how to do some maintenance on that building. I do.
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
And I will add, I think this is sort of like the gallery. In the past, that had been a lease agreement. All of the responsibility for maintenance had been pushed onto the society. We've seen how that worked out. I think this is a similar situation. And so there's going to need to be some negotiation between the parties to arrive at a solution that is workable and feasible for everybody, because it's not like the village is made out of money. It's not like the society has endless volunteer capacity. There are real restrictions on what we can achieve, but I think that there is consensus that having that asset in the community is of benefit to the residents of Silverton.
So we're saying it's a short-term arrangement. Can you inform me more specifically?
It's through April.
It's just.
Oh yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's
a 6 month.
Their current operating.
What I would like to see is even if it's an annual thing with a schedule of meetings between the village and the society.
Yeah.
So that, the development of it towards sustainability is laid out.
Yeah, we talked, and there's a good chance that there will be a delegation at the March meeting from the Arena Society, just to sort of introduce themselves and kind of get the lay of the land, not request for any decisions. That will probably come in April or afterwards. But yeah, we are talking about how we are going to schedule these conversations. And but I mean, I'm feeling optimistic. We noted the deficiency not very long ago, and here we are with an agreement that they have agreed to, and I think is quite reasonable. So if we can get council to agree to that, I think that we're moving in the right direction and moving pretty quickly. Yeah, Councilor Denbach.
Two things. One, what is it like? What's there's Freon in the system to make the ice, right?
I don't know.
I believe it is Freon.
I don't know which compound is used. I know that it's not the riskiest kind.
Yeah. Are you thinking of the Fernie or whatever? No, can't happen.
It's different from that.
Because that's the same plant, isn't it, that was in New Denver?
No, this is the same plant that was in Slocan.
I think it's more likely that it was from Slocan. But
When
but
Slocan
yeah,
shut down, they brought a lot of stuff about.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's been
Do we have some kind of professional opinion about this public safety in that building? About the systems, that they're not posing any kind of risk at all? Or
Yeah,
just all-
so there were a bunch of, when the incident happened in the East Kootenai a few years ago, there were a bunch of inspections that took place and WCB got involved. I believe that at this point that there is, and I don't have all the details, I think that there is a light that is not working. But but they are working on, they've got a quote and they're trying to track somebody down to do the work. And so I think that they are trying to meet those sort of basic safety requirements.
Yeah, so there is some outside agencies keeping an eye on it.
WorkSafe BC was here 2
Yeah.
years ago, I think it was, and gave a huge list of the things they had to redo. So between the village and the society, they got a lot of it,
Okay.
if not all of it accomplished.
Yeah. So
And then the second thing is just a wording thing in case this agreement, what is it called?
Occupancy agreement.
Occupancy agreement is used in part or in whole the next time. I wouldn't suggest for this short time it needs to be changed, but and 4.1 says for the purposes of to be used for the purposes of the recreational program and events to the community and for no other purpose. And the way that's worded, the and events could be anything from a garage sale to a church service to a political rally or anything else. Do we need to say and recreational events?
well, they do a silent auction in there during May or during Canada Days. So
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah.
stretch.
The end events leaves it wide open to, well, it does say and events to the community. It doesn't say for the community. It says, for some reason, I think it says and events to.
Well,
the
it's delivery to the community.
Okay, that's CAO speak, that's right. Recreational programming and events delivered to the community. Yeah, it's a fine point. It just leaves it wide open to.
Yeah, and I think that, like what we did with the gallery, we had a list in the gallery agreement, which is what this is based off of. There is a list of Schedule C activities that are permitted without any additional authorizations required, and anything that falls outside of that have to come back, get approval from the village. And if that would mean that I would approve it, if they don't like my answer, then they can appeal to council. So I think that something like that is entirely reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a detail, minor detail.
Any further discussion on that one? All in favor? Carried. So we have correspondence for information. Anybody would like to pull anything, Councilor May?
The municipal needs assessment.
Needs assessment, yeah. Anybody else like to pull anything? No, I'll let Thea go ahead.
Okay, I just like the where did this come from? Who delivered it?
This is the RDCK is running the regional program for Indigenous engagement around emergency disaster management.
Okay.
And so they've kicked off that project. And phase one was meeting with each of the individual municipalities to understand the lay of the land in which they're working. And so this is part of the presentation that we received for that. And I asked if it was okay to share it with council and with the public. And I got a green light from the consultants and the RDCK staff. So there it is on the agenda for just to keep everybody abreast of progress on that particular grant.
Any further
Okay,
questions?
just a comment, if I may, because I was still on, while I was still on RDCK, we had some of that Indigenous engagement going on, and when I saw this, I was really hoping that it's something that they would be delivering to council, because I think that, I mean, I'm the only one who's on this council who has gone in that kind of depth as to understanding what the government to government relationship is with the Indigenous groups that we share this land with. So it's good to know about it. I really hope they
They do have a workshop. RD has a workshop next week, I believe. They want to hold it, so I haven't heard too much about what it's going to be, but they're trying to get all the directors on board for a day.
Yeah, the workshops have been really valuable, yeah.
Sounds good. I will report back to council when that happens. Okay, any further correspondence? No? Okay, we have some correspondence sent. Is there any questions or comments on that? Okay, on to council reports. I've got my mayor report and my new director report on there. Jumping into the RD has been quite the learning experience. We have budget coming up, and I put down all the things that really pertain to Silverton and its changes. We will see some changes with the draft budget for 2026. There was a bunch of motions passed at the January board meeting that increased pretty much the general admin budgets. So that is not reflected in the budget currently. It will come back to the board table once it's all put into the proper categories. And unfortunately, our rate will increase with that. Silverton is sitting at a 15% increase through the RDCK. And there is not much we can do about it at this point. We have a public meeting coming up, which happens to be before our shared services meeting. So we're going to learn of the budget at the same time the public does. I'm not.
Oh, that's the budget presentation meeting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, do you know the date?
25th. That might change because I'm trying to, I had some issues, I will say, with the RDCK trying to get some information on the budget. As council is well aware, I've been trying for a long time to get some information on the RD budgets. And in November, I brought forward a bunch of questions. We got a few answers and we got a basic budget with no new numbers. It was from end of last year and nothing was really finalized for the year. That was our last meeting. And like I said, our next meeting is with public. So we don't have a say in what's going on with the RD with this budget. I do hope to push a few more buttons and figure out how we can do this a better situation for next year. Because really and truly, the Shared Services Committee has not gone over this budget. And like I said, we'll be finding out about it at the same time the public meeting happens. Councilor Demro.
Yeah, can I ask you what your take on that is?
Okay, so the budget discussions start in the fall. That's when the major portion of them happen. So yes, you were not there for
I was at those
discussions.
meetings. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was at those meetings, but I still didn't get the answers.
The
to
answers,
questions.
yeah.
Yeah. And when they gave us the budget, the year end wasn't even finalized. This was at the beginning of November. So it was very, very rough numbers. And they told us that at that meeting, that these are rough numbers. I was under the impression at that meeting that we would have one more meeting before the budget came out. We're not getting that.
Is there some acknowledgement that that's not satisfactory, or are they just?
I don't think it's the will of the other directors. Because I brought that up and I said, can we have the public meeting after our shared services meeting so we could still at least go over the budget? And I had nobody else back me on that. So New Denver, Slocan, and Area H, from what I got of that, silence. Yeah, not interested. So I don't know. Any further comments? You will see, I will point out here that the majority, if you look under the non-capital expense chart that I put on there, the majority of the tax increases are for reserves. Wages and benefits were the next that went up, but we do have some services that are dropping. So the building permits, that's one that went down. Some services went down, but the majority of them have gone up. Another big reason why ours went up more than the rest of them is because our assessed values for Silverton went up more than most other places. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I'm one of many that are appealing the assessment, so we might see those assessed values come down. Other than that, I have nothing else to report.
Well, it was a good one. Thank you.
Councilor Bowden, do you have anything?
Yeah, won't be much, but the housing meeting, I went to it and, they went and took a look through the church there and apparently there's quite a bit of radon, wasn't it, in the basement of the church building? So, they're finding out, a bit more about it, but still pursuing it and actively, they would really like to get hold of that. And pretty much the rest hasn't advanced too much. They're still looking into the same things, talking to a few more people that they've contacted or that have contacted them about houses that are empty because of people dying and stuff like this. They're still actively pursuing charitable status that they need to get so people can bequeath property if they were to be so inclined. So they're definitely working hard. I also went to the arena meeting, which I was reporting on because basically it was all right there. But I also attended the virtual town hall with Brittany Anderson and what is the forestry minister, Ravi Parman? Parmar.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, and that was interesting. It was mostly attended, it seemed, by a few mayors and whatnot. And I felt nice when after I asked about asked and commented about how when we go out in the bush, there is so much waste laying there that could be used for so many different things. And then having two other mayors, Mayor of Quesnel and somebody else saying, yeah, as the question or the person pointed out a couple questions ago there, this is, a big problem. And I think there's a lot of small, when I go out there and see all that, I don't look at it as waste. I look at it as jobs going to waste because there is so much of that small stuff. And people say, well, we had to go from small sawmills. We had to keep technology up and whatnot. No, I think that's where we have to go back to. And the small mills could, as much as possible, sell locally. Especially they're allowing, I believe in some cases, rough lumber and whatnot. So you don't always have to have kiln dried and planed wood and stuff. And the same, like I think it was Mayor of Quesnel that mentioned that there are people that with big chippers that would like to go out there, industrial chippers, and clean up some of that. But the laws are just too tough right now, and how we all need to, like pretty much, well, of course, all the towns that were on there were bigger than us. And even, like I say, Quesnel and whatnot, there's the same problem. They can see it's out there and just going to waste, but there's no real incentive from the government to do much with it. And unless you can do it in, like, what they're always aiming at, it seems, is big, like, okay, they want skidders and big equipment and stuff. Well, I could have made some real good money years ago just going out and getting 8-foot, 4-inch saw logs, cedar logs, and hauling them to a little mill that was where cedar mill is there now. The problem there was his mill kept breaking down. But had it not, with just a pickup, a couple chainsaws, and some cables, I could have made a darn good little living there. And it's all still sitting out there, but they say, oh, nothing longer than 4 feet. Well, what the hell good is that for other than firewood? Why waste all that good wood? So a lot of the other towns are in the same shape. I was glad I attended that. It was kind of different, but did get to speak up, which was nice too. And I did send a email to the mayor of Quesnel, because I'd like to talk to him a little bit more, but he hasn't responded yet. But then I got to check. I might have been looking at one of my old cards, which is Donald instead of Don. So
I think
I better
work.
Yeah, they both go to your.
well, okay.
Flipped you over in my email and you still get mine. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then he just hasn't got back to me yet. But yeah, I'd like to look into that a bit more. And that was, other than some interesting side conversations on my own with forestry about Idaho Peak Road. Anybody wants to know after the meeting, I could tell you more. But that was my month.
Thanks. Councillor Jembach.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Mann.
I submitted a written report I made it in time for it to be included in the agenda this time. So if anybody has any questions, the only thing that I'll flag is that at our March meeting, we will be considering individual bylaws to fund each of the projects that we presented. And that we will also be undertaking a review of how much money we put into our reserves at that meeting. And the hospital district reserves are really important because we pay 40% of all of the capital investments that happen within our place. And that's where that money comes from. It's taxation, and we discussed what projects we want to support and which ones we don't. There occasionally have been projects that we've said, no, that does not make sense to us. That's, or that's operational, that's not capital. You don't try to slide that in. The other thing was that I asked for an assessment on the New Denver campus, and I will do some follow-up with that because I haven't heard back from them at all. And we have not had any significant work done on this campus in a few years. And it was completely neglected in 2025 and 2026 budgets. So.
Was that New Denver campus?
The Spokane
Health Center.
Health Center.
Okay.
So hospital, pavilion, the whole works, or is it, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's not considered to be a hospital, so.
Yeah, right. I keep forgetting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it been
That's
a number of years since we've had a project here? I don't remember nothing for a long time.
3 years ago, they did some work on the floors in the pavilion. It was pretty minor stuff, well, they did the roofing.
Residences too.
Pardon?
The residences, I think they did a lot of work on this.
Yeah. But this 2025 and 2026, nothing. And I let them know that I wasn't happy about that. Good.
Well, thank you.
That answered my only question, that one you just went to, so.
Any good questions? Okay, on to the Public Works report. Is there any questions on that?
Go team, go.
Mm-hmm, yeah, lots.
Nice treasures they found.
Yeah, so much for my gopher. I didn't think it was gonna be that.
Yeah.
Well, it was still something that dug it out,
Yes.
like dug the hole that got it.
Yes.
I'm sure the gophers were living with the truck.
Yeah, because I was wondering when I was shining my flashlight in there, the void just kind of, it didn't look like it had been kept digging. It's like it had got to a point. And I thought, oh, there could have just been
There-
a hole or an old den that it's recovered. But yeah, it was interesting when Terry told me that. And then Chantel says to me today, they were down and, yeah, did you know about the truck up there? I said, yeah, Terry told us. How do you know? Well, she knows him from the cusp, and he was up for lunch, I guess, or something, and they got talking. And so, but I gotta ask, I've got to remember to go ask Jack Kelly. It's just a guess, but it might have been buried there back in the days when that creek was still running wild, because it went right down Fifth Street at one point, and way before that, it went through the campground. Apparently, that's why the campground is so low in there. So it used to do a lot of traveling, so it might have been just, yeah, don't need this truck anymore. There's a way to shore up the
I'm
bank.
told that that's happened a lot in the area. That
Oh, yeah,
a
well.
old truck, they didn't deal with it. They either put it out in the bush or it got buried somewhere.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, council at one point, I believe, because Carol had mentioned debris, vehicle debris and whatnot along the lake shore. So I think she told Barb that they had Leonard go and clean some of this up, and Barb said to him that was because people were trying to keep their property from going into the lake. That was people doing it not because they just wanted to throw junk in the lake. It was to hold up the bank along a lot of that, so.
It's like to do with ocean going vessels, they sink them to make coral reefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Jack Kelly or Stu Nelson might know,
Yeah.
but Doug Nelson didn't. I saw him at the store and he didn't. That was a surprise to him.
I do have a question on the raft, the swim dog.
Yeah.
That's 2 years in a row that is there gonna be a more, I like pulling it up in the winter. I think that's a good plan.
Yeah.
If it's breaking off though, should we find a different place to
I think that, I mean, anchoring is a challenge just because the drop off
Drop-off,
happens so quickly, and so it's hard to find good anchoring locations. But I think that we've been lucky and it hasn't been breaking free in the summer. It seems to be those bigger winter storms
Yeah.
that seem to be taking it out. So hopefully we'll be able to find a good anchoring system this year. And then I think it does just make sense to pull it, put a buoy on it so that the line stays.
Yeah.
And then we just clip to that line in the spring.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier, more manageable. So we'll see if that works. And if not, we'll have to get even more creative and find even bigger anchors. Maybe one of those vehicles that.
They're not just good for septic tanks.
Yes.
Did we have to get a scuba diver in last time to?
We had a friendly neighbor who, a member of the community who volunteered.
Okay, I was gonna say, cause I know there are one or two around if that comes up, but I didn't.
Yeah, if anybody's talking to somebody who has diving gear and diving experience and thinks that they might be interested in doing a solid for the community, put them in touch.
Yep.
Is Mark Van Engelen also already on your speed dial for that?
No, and I don't know him. So if you want to pass that along, that we might be looking, if you have a connection there, that would be great.
Just to add to the confusion, I have had a couple of people ask if the village would ever consider putting a swimming platform down at the day park. So some year when we're really flush, I can get a grant. Because, there's a particular group that uses Cooper's Beach and a particular group that uses the day park beach. So.
I had a tourist actually ask about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did it again. Go ahead, sorry.
So that scuba diving thing is specific to getting that
It's
anchor
yeah,
in place?
specific to getting an anchor in there, because what's happened is that if you plan for it, then you disconnect the dock and you put a buoy on the chain, and then the buoy doesn't flow, it doesn't pick up as much, and so it stays. And so then swap it in the spring. But right now, the chain's on the bottom of, or the anchor and whatever broke is sitting on the bottom of the lake.
So the anchor's there, chains on it, is just sunk.
Yeah.
It's all at the bottom, in the mud.
Not many kids swimming yet. We can't get them to go dive for it.
Yeah.
All the village.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that on the raft idea, there was a lady last year that said that, she asked me, is there another raft anywhere? I said, well, up in New Denver. And what the problem was, one of her kids, when they have to go down something this steep, the kid had to just stare at his feet all the way down, because if he looked up, apparently he would just do a tumble. I forget what she called it. It's something that, it's like people with depth perception or something, I guess. But
Vertigo?
it wasn't vertigo, but it's something along that line. And so, I never ever thought of that. I was like, hey, great, we provided that. But yeah, not everybody can use that for various reasons. So it would be nice. And so I had told her, well, Bigelow then is out also pretty well, but the one in New Denver is a flatter, not such a steep slope.
And we'll have the accessibility ramp this year too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, that would be something well worth looking into.
On to bylaws. So we have a fee and charges amendment bylaw for our water and garbage rates. Can I get somebody to move the motion? Councillor Main, seconded by Councillor Denbach. Any discussion?
Ouch.
Yeah.
So,
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Not in favor, but we don't have. options.
Also saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are to the public input period. Do we have anybody online that would like to comment? And I would like to apologize for the link. We had some technical difficulties.
This is Rachel from the Valley Voice. I could provide input on the link. Last time with the Committee of the Whole, Catherine, you sent me a Zoom link and it didn't work again. And that one I used today and it worked. So I think the one on the agenda just needs to be changed to whatever that one is.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, we will get that changed. Okay. Any further public comments? Seeing no further comments.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Sorry, the link that I got in the village agenda was wrong, and thanks, Tanya, for sending me the link. And I finally managed to get in near the end of the meeting, but the meeting link that I had was for December 10th.
Yeah, it seems to be an old link that just uploaded to this agenda. We'll fix it for the next one. Okay. Any further comments? Seeing no further comments, and we have no in-camera meeting, can I get somebody to motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Councillor Broughton, seconded by Councillor Main. All in favor? Carried.
Well done, team.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.